Hello there. In this video we're going to be looking at assigning items to categories, okay? This vibe right here. So to do this we're going to create a brand new table called StoreCat Assign, and it's got 3 columns, okay? The first column is obviously going to be ID, and that's a primary key auto increment. The second column is going to be cat ID, and then the last column is going to be item ID, okay? Cat ID is obviously going to be the category ID, and item ID will be the item ID. So I'm going to find this button, update item categories. I've got an idea where it lives, but I'll just do a search. Anyway, update item categories, and at the moment that button goes nowhere, so I'm going to change it so that it goes to StoreCat Assign, and then /update, and then it passes in the update ID, okay? So now when we click this button here, look at the URL. It's going to StoreCat Assign /update/11, okay? So we need to create, we don't need that. We need to create a brand new module called StoreCat Assign. This is something you've done lots of times before, so let's just do that. So we're creating our StoreCat, ignore that, our StoreCat Assign module, okay? So here we go. All right, and renaming this top part, and renaming these sections MDL StoreCat Assign, and then onto the model. Here we go, StoreCat Assign, and renaming the class name up here. StoreCat Assign. I've just realized that these are old school, these functions. Obviously we like to do things like that these days, but let's not worry about it, and if you'll forgive me, I'll pretend that I've managed to be consistent with this stuff, which obviously I haven't. So anyway, we've got a thing called update, okay, and it takes in an item ID. Okay, so I'm just going to say hello and item ID. So when somebody goes to that page, you can see it saying hello, and then we've got item ID 11, okay? So the first thing that we're going to do to get this thing doing something meaningful is get an array of all subcategories on the site, okay? Let's do that right now actually. This load module store categories, and then we're just going to say query equals this store categories get where custom and parent cat ID. Now the way that we do this on with Codeigniter, basically a subcategory is where a parent cat ID does not equal 0. And the way that we do that is we go into this first section, we do an exclamation mark and an equal sign, okay? So that's going to get us all of the subcategories. So now we just loop through as normal, and I'm going to say subcategories. It's going to be an array, and that's going to be row cat title. Okay, so we've now got all of the subcategories. Would you like me to show you them just to prove it? Okay, I'll do that. Here you go, just to show you what's happening. So if we hit refresh, you'll see we've got the subcategories. Okay, that's all of the subcategories on the site. Okay, the next thing that we're going to do, we won't need this. Next thing that we're going to do is get an array of all assigned categories. Okay, so to do that, we're going to do let me just have a think here. We're going to go, let's do another query, but this query is going to say get where custom, and we're going to say item ID equals item ID. Okay, and again, we're just going to use a for each. We'll save some time here, paste this in, and I'll say assigned categories equals, now one moment actually, I'm just having a think about what I'm doing here. Let's add the category ID in here. Okay, I hope this is making some kind of sense. And the assigned categories is going to be row cat ID, cat title. Does that make sense? Okay, and I'm going to say if not is set assigned categories, then assigned categories is empty. That's just to avoid errors, okay? So I've now collected these two arrays. They're going to come in handy. Stay cool. It will all come together in just a second. In the meantime, I'm going to look back at the store items page, and I'm saying to myself, is there anything kind of similar to assigning, you know, anything like this that we've used before? And the answer is yes. I think that the store items color was kind of similar to what we're doing, you know. So I'm going to go to store items color, and I'm going to go to update, and you can see we've got a whole bunch of code here that's actually quite useful for what we're doing. So I'm going to paste that in like so, and we'll take this security thing and move it up here. Actually, let's do the same with all of this. So the security is heading upstairs. We've got item ID here, so I'm going to change update ID to say item ID. Okay, and that's looking not too bad. We don't need that. And I'm going to say the headline is category assign. Okay. Do we need an update ID? Nope. I'll say item ID though. Okay, that's not too bad. So I'm going to refresh this page. Where are we again? Refreshing this page here. And it's looking for a file called update. Now that's not a surprise. We knew that would happen. So let's grab update from store item colors. And we're going to create a new file in here. We'll call it update.php. This is in the StoreCat assign module. And I'm going to paste in. We'll hit refresh. Okay, that's cool. And I'm going to say new category instead of new color option. Okay, and this here is going to say choose a new category and hit submit, something like that. Okay, it's looking for a thing called update ID. Well, that's kind of uncool. We'll just change that to item ID. And I'm just gradually building up. Don't worry about this. We'll come on to it in a minute. Here we would like a drop down with the categories, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to find somewhere where we've managed to use a drop down in the past and it went okay. And I would suggest store categories create was kind of cool. Do you remember that? So I'm going to go to store categories. I'm going to go to create, and you'll remember that this loaded up a file called create. Okay, so I'm going to bring that up. Here it is here, and this is the code for the drop down. It really worked out fantastically well last time. So let's get that going. Okay, something like that. Oops, I'm gonna go back. One moment, I'm just finding my way around. Okay, so it's looking, in order to do this drop down, which by the way should say cat ID, not parent cat ID. In order to do that, it's looking for a variable called options, okay? So I'm going to go back to StoreCat assign, and options is an array, okay? So I'm just going to say data options equals, and I'm just going to say for the moment subcategories. Hit refresh. And undefined variable cat ID line 30. Let's just have a look. I think that's on this here. Okay, so it's looking for a cat ID. So if we, let's just have a look here and see what's happening. Just to get rid of the error, I'm going to say cat ID equals this, input, post, cat ID, true. Let's go. Okay, so you can see that it's saying choose a new category, and here they are. That's looking pretty good actually. And I'm quite happy with that. Now underneath this section here where we choose, right now it says existing color options. We're going to change that to existing categories, okay? But there's an error on line 49. So num rows, it's saying if num rows is greater than 0, and it cannot find num rows. So we know that data num rows is equal to query number of rows returned, the number of assigned categories, okay? And if we hit refresh, that's looking pretty cool. Now, I wonder if I've got time to do this before this thing ends. I think I'll leave it there actually, because I'm trying to keep these videos at 10 minutes. I've got a video guy who edits these for me, and it's probably uncool if I go beyond that. Okay, so we'll leave it there and we'll continue in the next video, okay?